What's going on, everyone? If you saw the original Scream, then obviously you noticed all of the horror movie references throughout the film. In the beginning of the film, you had references to Friday the 13th, Wes Craven himself dressed up similar to Freddy Krueger, a homage to A Nightmare on Elm Street. You had the Exorcist reference in the beginning with Billy and Sidney. I mean, you had Prom Night, Psycho, The Town That Dreaded Sundown. The list goes on and on of horror films that were referenced in Scream. Well, fast forward to Scream 5, and it's very likely that they're going to keep that meta aspect and sort of make fun and play on those horror movies. But given that it is 2022 when the film releases, it's not going to be these type of films, it's going to be more modern films. There was even recently a interview with the producers, and they basically said as much. I haven't covered the interview because it's not really too much, and there's nothing like really shocking revealed in that interview, but if you want me to cover it, let me know down in the comments below and I'm more than happy to do it. But this video, I wanted to sort of speculate and have a discussion with you all, per usual video, on potential movies and films that could be referenced in the upcoming Scream 5. So before we get started, like this video, it helps me out a lot, lets me know that you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. And subscribe to the channel, followed by the bell notification so you never miss an upload, and let's get into it. So, if we're going to talk about horror movies in Scream 5, they're probably going to be the more mainstream, iconic type films of the last decade or so. Even looking at the list of the original Scream, it was all iconic films of that decade leading up to that film. I mean, you had Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, The Exorcist, Prom Night, Psycho, Friday the 13th. All of these are huge, iconic franchises and films. I would assume that they're going to plug in their own films. I mean, they made Ready or Not, so obviously there'll probably be references to that. Without spoiling that film, if you've seen that and you've seen the end, how cool would it be to have like a kill kind of homage to that? You know, like, again, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about as far as like the end scene. If you haven't, then go watch the movie. It's actually a really good movie. Other sort of references that come to mind as far as iconic franchises would be Annabelle. Annabelle is a perfect example. I mean, all of the Annabelle Easter eggs throughout all of the even non-horror films. I mean, you have a ton of DC movies, you have the Marvel, they even have breakdown videos where it shows Annabelle in all these various films, sort of just plugged in. I could see them doing something like that because it's easy. It's something, you know, you have an Annabelle doll sitting somewhere on a shelf or, you know, on a couch or something. And it's just an easy plug to a horror film. I think that's why a lot of people do it. It's something that's recognizable. It's something that the audience goes, oh, that's funny. So it's a cool reference. Oh, you know what else would be, speaking of kills, like Ready or Not, what if they had like an epic, you know, kill scene and then like the blood splatters on like an Annabelle doll and the blood's just like dripping down Annabelle? Like, that would be not only a cool like little plug for a horror film, but it would also just be an awesome scene. I mean, having Ghostface, you know, chase, because they say that there's all these epic chase scenes. Maybe there's a chase scene in the house, they get to this room, Ghostface takes somebody out gruesomely, whatever, you know, he's supposed to be getting off the knife in a lot of kills, so maybe he gets creative and does something, and then boom, you get the splatter on Annabelle. Like, that'd be a really cool scene, in my opinion. Sort of sticking with Annabelle, I mean, you could go into The Conjuring. It's a huge franchise that people are aware of. You could even do like an Ed and Lorraine book, just like sitting on a table somewhere where people go, oh, that's, you know, I get it. Or even like a reference to like a haunting or something, you know, Ghostface looks like a demon or something, you know, you get some like little Conjuring reference. Another thing, we could even look at, like, take Scream 3. Scream 3, they had the film, you know, Randy. What if they did something similar, maybe not with Randy or maybe with Randy, whatever, but it was like a Insidious, not Insidious, Sinister. There we go. Sorry about that. Sinister reference. And you'd see like, you know, like a weird play. Obviously, they'll probably have, you know, like in Scream 1, you had Halloween referenced on the TV. You'll probably get a scene like that where there's some horror reference on the screen. I just think that they're going to use a lot of modern, recognizable films that we as an audience immediately go, oh, I know that. They'll probably use other slasher movies, slasher, maybe even like references to like TV shows. I mean, they could reference Scream, the TV show. Maybe even poke fun at the mask of the ghost face. Maybe even make it like a real meta thing where somebody's watching Scream, the TV show, in the Scream universe as like a little parallel. You want to talk about meta? That's meta, and that would be kind of funny and like a cool little thing. They could again make fun of the mask, and even the Scream series. People are hit or miss. I get comments every once in a while where somebody will reference it and talk about how much they hate it, how much they love it. So even you, as my audience, are pretty mixed on that. I personally thought it was like, I thought the first season, I guess you could say 2 seasons were pretty good. And after that, I just kind of, whatever. But that's not what this video is about. So I just think because the producers pretty much said as much, that they're going to keep it meta. They're going to, poke fun of themselves. Keep the framework of Wes that, he built. He was really good at poking fun of himself, not taking things too serious, even though it was a horror thriller type movie. He still maintained some of that meta aspect, some of that funniness that goes along with it. So they basically said the same, that they plan on keeping that meta aspect, poking fun at other films, keeping the blueprint that Wes laid out. So we definitely will get some movie references. I would assume even Wes, you're probably going to get some callbacks to Wes's films as like a homage. I do think, though, personally, could be totally wrong. Again, we haven't seen the film, but I think that they're sort of like Easter eggs for Wes are going to be more blatant than just like a quick, brief brush over, where somebody's like, oh, that looks like Freddy Krueger or something, something silly. I think it'll be more of like, oh, okay, that's for Wes type thing. Because they said that there's going to be plenty of Easter eggs in this film, and what better Easter eggs than horror movie references? And then obviously you'll get some, iconic Wes Craven references, and I think that'll be really cool. Another thing would be, most likely in this film, some character is going to be the movie buff. That's kind of the trend in Scream. You had Randy, Scream 1 and 2. Scream 3, you had an entire film production of horror people that were referencing horror films throughout and things like that. So you had an entire group of Randys, essentially. And then Scream 4, obviously Kirby. So Scream 5 most likely is going to have that movie buff. Maybe not to the degree that Kirby and Randy were, but I'm sure there's going to be somebody with some knowledge of films, and that will probably be where a lot of our references is, because that's how it was with Kirby, that's how it was with Randy. That one person was kind of the one churning out the movie references. But as always, this is a discussion, and I want to hear from you. Like, what kind of movies do you think that they would reference in Scream 5? What kind of movies would you want to see them reference? Because, obviously the film's already ready to go, so they've already made the film. So what would you like to see, and how would you want them to reference the film? I'd really like to hear your perspective on that. I think it'd be really cool to kind of play like the horror movie game, where you guys just let me know and we'll have a conversation that way. That'll be awesome. And if you haven't yet, make sure you like this video. Again, it helps me out a lot. Lets me know that you enjoy these types of videos, and I really do appreciate it. Helps with the algorithm, helps with everything. And you guys have been awesome lately, and I really appreciate it. And if you're not already, gotta subscribe to the channel, followed by the bell notification so you never miss an upload, and you can join these conversations because they're a great time, and we have a really fun experience with this all. But anyway, that's the end of the video. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.